This is the House of Zazz. This is Emilie Autumn on the phone with me. Welcome aboard the House of Zazz.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm officially aboard.
I
Do
know.
you need any special shoes or anything like that?
You checked your bags properly, and
Yep, I got my passport.
and everything checked out okay. So
Wow, that's actually quite surprising that it went through security, but whatever.
as long as you're not smuggling anything, or we'll check.
Yeah, no, most of it was all taken when I went through security last, so that's fine. I did have some really sweet knives that I always try and travel with, and they were finally taken away. So you know what I want for Christmas.
Speaking of traveling, have you played in Connecticut before, or is this one of the uncharted territories for Emily?
I feel that I might not have been, which seems crazy because we've done a lot of shows in this world that is a completely new show. In that way, yes, we have never been there or anywhere before.
And you're coming through Boston very shortly.
Yes.
And you're doing a co-headlining tour for this leg, right?
Yeah, we've never actually done this before. We're co-headlining with a lovely band called the Birthday Massacre, and it's very different. Generally, I've never been an opener. I've never had an opener. It's always like an evening in this Asylum alternate reality that we've all created together.
Yeah.
And so this is going to be different in that, I mean, there's two awesome female-fronted kind of kick-ass bands as part of this same night. So as much as it's strange to be like, oh, God, this isn't entirely about only this for, like, the entire situation, we both get to go on and do our complete shows and sets and all of the rest. And I think it's just going to be kind of amazing energy having another young lady who is, you know, in the front woman position and kind of a badass. So I think it's going to be a very, lots of yin energy that night, which the world needs more of anyway.
For someone who brings, a show instead of just, someone performing and staring at your shoes the whole time.
We don't do that. But our shoes are cool enough that if we did, it would at least make some fucking sense.
It'd be like, these shoes are awesome.
Be like, look at this. I have $1,000 of Swarovski crystals that I glued onto my shoes this morning. All right, I got a reason to be shoe-dazing, but I'm not. My gift to you. I don't even need to be looking at you people right now, but I will.
But do you ever have a situation where, based on the kind of limitations of the venue, where you have to fight to bring your whole experience to that place?
Every single day. Every single day. Because, very occasionally are you going to get an actual kind of theater environment where there's like wings and things where sets can go on and off and all of that. That's of course what we're going to, and that we're turning the show into a Broadway musical. But for right now, it's always, there are plenty of places where we don't get to put our entire set, and it's not that it's anything that massive. It's like a second stage, a kind of clock tower or asylum cell bar situation. So even that, it's like depending on the height, where the lights are set up. But we've kind of, over the years of doing this just all over the place, is come to terms with that in just finding that if there's a venue that it's like you're lucky to be playing anywhere that night, and frankly, I'm lucky to be playing anywhere everybody is. If we're in a venue and it ends up being like, all right, fuck it, we can't bring anything on stage, this is going to be punk rock, Asylum after hours, Asylum after dark, hardcore style, whatever, and then it ends up just being about that. So I feel like if you just recognize that that's what it is, then it's kind of like when we go to South America, you can't bring anything. Yeah. You just go and you do your show. And the fact is, some of my greatest, largest fan base is actually in South America. They are just very happy to see us, to see most shows. So you just kind of think of it like my goal is always to make it so that whatever I have on stage or whatever kind of venue it is, nobody notices anything. They come away thinking, wow, that looked like $1 million show. And I feel like a changed human being. I feel like that's my job. And if I can't do that, then I'm not very good. So that's my job, is the transformation of your mind in this space. There's
that tightrope you walk where it's like you have all this amazing stuff, but if you are stripped of it, you still have to be able to deliver something amazing.
Yeah, that's the thing. And yet I still have nightmares about things like not getting my makeup on in time and forgetting my costume. I don't have nightmares about, I didn't sing well or something. I have nightmares about the most shallow things because they're not shallow in the end. It's become where all of these are just ingredients in telling this crazy story. So everything is important, but I just think that it's it is still, admittedly a bit odd that my anxiety dreams has strictly to do with what I look like.
Are you your own tour manager on these tours? You have to kind of orchestrate everything, and you work on the costumes and everything too. So
well, that I do all of that. Thankfully, no, Melissa King, who's my manager and also kindly tour manages, and she is the one that basically makes it so that I don't need to know what day it is because it wouldn't matter. Because I just get off a bus and show up and try to be awesome and make new friends with all the people in the audience and go on an adventure. But she's amazing. That is the point where I can't be dealing with, it's really quite incredible what she does and what people in that position do that I really don't think most people realize. But she's basically in charge of all of our lives 24 hours a day and collects the money at the end of the night, which is very important.
Somebody's got to do that.
I don't have to do that. Yeah, I would rather just be like, and my job's done. I'm going to go wash the glitter off my face and let somebody else do the really dirty work because, that's really where the difficulty is. But, no, but everything else I do get to completely run and control. And right now, in fact, I am in control of washing all of our costumes in my bathtub.
See?
Because
the glamorous life.
Very elaborate. Oh, God, you have no idea. What's glamorous is how the tub looks once the water drains, because there's like the crystals that the glue came off in the tub, and there's piles of glitter from the last tour that are embedded in the corset strings, and that is a layer of goodness. I will, in fact, take a picture and send it to you, especially because you didn't ask. So, had you asked, it would be...
No, strictly verboten.
See, like, that's horrible, and you've really overstepped a boundary. And I'm actually hanging up right now, but because you didn't, you're going to get a special treat. Yeah.
That bathtub kind of situation is kind of what's interesting about you delving into history or any kind of Victorian sentiment. Is many other people that would be involved in
it is an antique clawfoot porcelain tub.
It's got to be, right? But
so is.
Anybody else who would be interested in any kind of like steampunk imagery or something, they'd always be flying some really sterile dirigible. But I have a feeling you would find out where the steerage would be on that dirigible and find out who's there.
I would definitely find it out. Yeah, that is quite so. You're excellent.
Now, when you come through a place like Boston, do you get to go crawling around the city and kind of checking out some of the more interesting, aspects of it?
Very rarely, unfortunately. And that's kind of, imagine going to Paris 3 times in a row on 3 different tours and never seeing the Eiffel Tower and never seeing any of these things. And that's what happened. Finally, I did. But that's how it is for most everywhere, is we so rarely get... What I've come to really fight for is actually not fighting. It's more like sneaking out of the bus when we arrive, because usually if I say, oh, Melissa, is there time for me to go and have a cup of tea with the girls and walk around and maybe go see something in this amazing place that we're at, it'll be like, no, you have press in 10 minutes. But if I just leave, then I get a text that says, baby, where are you? You have press in 10 minutes. And then I'll do the interview or take the call or do whatever I have to do while walking around. But it's that thing of like, if I didn't leave on my own, because then it's just like, oh, sorry, I'll bring you back like an extra cappuccino or something with a shot of whatever, and then everything's okay. So that's really the trick, is just going anyway, and then at least what I get to my adventures in every new place or country is usually like finding a coffee shop or a tea house that's close enough to the venue that I won't get in horrible trouble for being late.
You've learned to manipulate the system, so that's good.
Oh, I am so manipulative. That is the extent. Yeah, I will find a way to get what I want, which is a crappy cup of coffee somewhere usually, because that is all that I have. But then we'll sit and we'll actually write in our journals and meet people. We have a game called Friend of the Day, and this is quite. We have a lot of amazing tour bus games, and the few that I can tell you about. One is Friend of the Day, and Friend of the Day is when you go out. And, we're on tour. You're not going to go and get to sightsee and have these full-blown, touristy adventures.
Sure,
You're not going to get to do that. But what you can do is what? You can make a friend. So Friend of the Day means you go into a coffee shop, you go buy some extra hairpins, whatever it is, and you find a person in the 5 minutes that you might have in that city, and you make a real friend, you make a connection with somebody, and you have to ask them, just in case like that weren't weird enough, you have to actually ask them, will you be my friend of the day? And they have to say yes. Usually, you have to try to take a picture with them, just in case all of that weren't weird enough. But in the end, you end up having a real friend of the day. We've made some amazing friends of the day, and almost the best part is knowing, like, you're not going to Facebook each other. It's not about that. It's about this one moment, and you're probably never going to see them again, and that is it. But it's real friend of the day, and so I actually have memories of places simply because of that. Yes, friend of the day. I really hope that you put that into practice in your own life. That said, will you be my friend of the day?
Absolutely. It's Friday. It's a great day. I'm game.
It is.
I'm in.
Can we get a picture together?
Yeah. I don't know how.
We'll discuss
in Boston, maybe.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Unless I can somehow just transcend time and space.
Friendship is magic, all right?
We can do some space holding.
We can do anything. We can totally do some space holding.
I'm in.
I'm so in.
I kind of want to see the bathtub, too, so.
All right. I'm just going to get super arrogant on you right here. I'm excellent at Photoshop. Send me a picture.
Yes.
We will be sitting together in that bathtub by the end of the day. Fantastic.
Where am I sending it?
You are sending it to, let's see, I'm going to give you my full address and phone number right over the air right now, by which I mean I will send it to you immediately after we get that.
Tune in, everybody. Listen up.
Yep. Who wants a friend of the day? You want it to be Emilie Autumn? Well, here you go.
Now you deal with it.
This is on you now. Oh, God.
I seek out these interviews. I never know what's going to happen. So.
No, that's the fun of it.
And you've been roaming around promoting this recent album for a little while now. In the age gone by where record companies are always forcing you to put something out, is it nice to have the ability to let something like Flag breathe and grow?
Oh, yes. That's the whole beautiful thing that happens when you sue to get off your record label and now you're on your own, is that nobody gets to tell you things like, all right, we're putting another thing out now. And I'm thinking, well, I don't think actually that anybody truly, truly understands what I just put out. I think that it's okay to let them maybe think about it before they just like greedily just like, I want another this, another this. Sometimes like an audience never, I actually don't mean this disrespectfully, but I do think that it is a good lesson for all of us because we're all an audience of somebody, is we have a tendency as an audience to get very, very greedy, very entitled, and just think, well, I want a new toy, I want the new something, and we never say, well, are we ready for the thing? So with the Flag album, with the book, with all of these things, it wasn't always about, well, this wasn't done. It was that this wasn't the time. And oftentimes it's because you didn't understand the last thing that I just did. So what's in it for me to put out something? I'm not doing it to make anybody happy, and I'm not doing it to fulfill like a quota of how many records I have in this record deal. Already did that. And so now it's just about what is the right time for something, and that involves a lot more factors than just me having, enough songs to fill an hour. It's now about the ingredients that come together to build what the ultimate destiny of this entire story is, and that is the musical of my Asylum for Wayward Victorian Girls book. And so what's happening on stage now is literally a third of that musical done by 3 girls with very limited setups. And so if this is all rehearsal for that, the Flag album is literally a third of the musical sung by 1 girl in a very short amount of time. It's going to be a massive production with a cast of 40 people. But this is like the work and the proof to show that if we can get this story in any way across doing it with only this, then imagine what can happen. And that's also me just really earning it, is if I can make this make sense using only these ingredients, then we can do anything.
Yeah, do that next step.
Right. And then the thing that's really important about not having anybody to push a schedule in a certain direction or basically rush anything at all is because this is all, like, there is no, what comes after Flag is another rock album that Flag isn't a rock album, obviously, but, like, let's just be real about that. But it isn't, what comes next is the musical. I've just previewed a third of it, and what comes next is this whole thing. So I do know that if I were, it would be harder to explain to, like, Sony or somebody, like, listen, guys, I'm going to make a Broadway musical. You cool with that? Well, that's going to mean I don't put out another album for the next 2 years, because
Yeah.
what happens is I put out the whole damn soundtrack, and how I wanted to manifest that was by putting out the Fight Like a Girl album, that being, and really flipping the priority of, generally, it's like you tour to promote an album. That's the idea. Your touring is an advertisement for the sales of this physical or digital product. And for me, the recording of that album was to write it as a soundtrack to the show. The show is what's important.
Yeah, it's a different agenda altogether. Yeah.
Yeah, it's completely different. And that's why the touring process is different. Schedules are different. The focus is completely different. The focus is not on building a record collection. The focus is, or a record catalog, the focus is on building a world and building a story. And the music is just one way in which to do that. So it's really that it's kind of in a completely different category, which is great because I kind of hate the music industry. But I think everybody does. It's just how much do you have to deal with it and how many rules do you have to follow. And the fact is, almost none. It's just that you have to find an alternative. Like you can't just not listen to somebody. You have to have your own rule that works better. And you have to have your own system in place. And that just takes a lot of time and work and things that not everybody wants to do. But it's a lot more work than just complaining about, hating record labels. But it's also a lot more fun when you take that energy that is usually, reserved for fighting the system, which we all love to do, and we only need to do, so it's okay. But imagine what we can do if we just do it ourselves.
You are your own system.
Yep.
It's kind of the Wild West out now.
The law.
And you are your own sheriff in the Wild West. So, nice.
Thank you for giving me my newest T-shirt merch idea.
Hey, no problem. I get like a 0.05% kickback, right?
You might get a shirt. You might get a shirt for like you and your mom or something.
Okay,
like that.
My mom, she'll be digging that.
Okay,
I'm cool with that.
You might not get a shirt, but your mom will get a shirt. So thank you for that.
Steel's getting worse now.
Yeah, when I send you the bathtub pic of us in sailing the bathtub ship, then I'll draw a little contract between me and your mother.
As someone now that is embarking on a journey that's leading to a Broadway musical and also neglecting the poorer record industry, how do you feel about the world of Kickstarter now and that kind of thing that so many people are embracing?
Are you asking that because you know that Veronica Varlow, my bandmate, just totally kicked the ass of her Kickstarter campaign this morning?
Maybe. I won't admit to it.
Incredible. How incredible is it? She just slaughtered that thing. It is now a few $1,000s beyond, or almost $4,000 over what they asked for, and it isn't even over yet. That is incredible. And that, I had never thought, honestly, of using something like Kickstarter for anything because I did have a bit of the preconception, and I'm not a person that generally asks for things. I'm always very, self-sufficient. I can do this. I can make this. I will figure out, I will pull this out of thin air. Overnight, we will have some miracle. Don't ask me how. And that's usually what happens. And I think that it seemed to me a real letting go of a part of one's ego to say, this is now, I need you to do this. Not like, I'm Emilie Autumn and I'm sharing with you my gifts in this music, and say, but no, I actually need you guys or I can't do this. And I've never been okay to say, I can't do anything. It's just in there. But watching Vivi do this campaign and do it so beautifully to where it was an absolute gift for everyone, for her, because the money that they got, of course, now they get to make an awesome bloody film, and I get to be in it, so that's great. It's really the adventure that they just had was such an insane, years off your life amount of work that she and her husband just did to make this dream attractive to people to want to be a part of, very much like the Asylum has become. And what they've really gotten out of it is just a completely different worldview about the amount of sincere love that you can get from these people all over the world. And sometimes it's a good thought. Sometimes it's, well, I can't give you anything, but I'll put up this poster.
Sure,
People were having bake sales in Tokyo to earn $16 to be able to then put in for this fund. People made it their dream, and that absolutely changed I don't know that I'll ever utilize a technology like that or not, but it did change my view of what it really means. And also, I've been learning that major directors have made some Sundance Cannes-winning films based on that. And so maybe it isn't always a thing of, I can't do this unless you do this, or this is the only way, and it comes down to me asking for money to build something. Maybe it's something that could be done by choice, because then everybody truly does get to be a part of it. So I'm starting to see it as almost like a social experiment, not so much can I have some money so that I can do something in my career thing. And I think I've really learned that. So I think completely differently about it.
It's hard to embrace that mindset, though. It's hard to switch that thinking.
It really is. I think if you're very independent and you've spent most of your life getting away from people trying to do things with you, for you, because usually, like, the price is really too high at the end of the day. And, it's just, I'm almost envious of the experience that Vivi has just had in seeing how, they get some kick-ass prizes, but they don't get money when the film comes out. They don't get a piece of this, and they know that, and they did it. So it's just like, basically what I'm trying to tell you is that she's going to be an absolute terror to live with for the next 3 weeks on the tour, because
that's the raw truth.
So fucking happy, I can't even deal with her right now.
Yeah.
She called me this morning, and she was just crying and completely hysterical. And I thought, oh, God.
Oh, boy, kick it down a notch.
Oh, God. Oh, God. Why, Kickstarter? Why? Yeah. Why did you have to make my best friend's dream come true?
Look what you overwrought.
God, look what you've done to me. Kickstarter ruined my life.
There you go. That's the quote.
No, it was the best conversation. I'm probably, other than the one I'm having with you right now, it's the best chat I've ever had in my life. It's her just completely being just absolute gibberish. It was very sweet. I couldn't be prouder. And no one on the face of the fucking planet deserves it or has worked for it more than this girl. So I'm just glad that I get to be a character in this thing, and that she's my best friend, but I still find it flattering that she entrusts me to do a good job with basically her life stream. I'm just lucky I get to be in it, and I think I play a bit of a bad girl.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. You're going to have a hard time summoning that kind of...
I don't know where it will come from.
Yeah. Some sort of... Yeah. You're going to go on a retreat.
I should probably raise a Kickstarter campaign for my acting lessons to learn how to be a bad girl. I should probably definitely start that today. So, we'll talk about that. One of the prizes for my Kickstarter campaign for acting lessons will be a signed poster-sized portrait of you and I in the bathtub.
Yeah.
I'm so glad.
I'm going to be looking on the merch page. What's that?
Yeah, and then you're going to find that on eBay.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, hey, wait a second.
We're going to have some conversations.
And then we can have like a rift for a day, and then...
Oh, yeah.
And then kind of...
That's just for the press.
And then get over it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and you are the press, so figure that one out.
Me and my radio
You're
hour.
creating press for yourself so that you can then cover yourself. I've just blown my own mind.
I feel so postmodern here.
I can't even understand what you're saying.
And since I'm living in the future, I'm probably around the time when you're coming to Boston. So what can people expect for this show? Are their minds going to be blown, much like ours have been?
Blown. Yes. We need to start a Kickstarter campaign for their recuperation process after this show.
Post-show therapy.
Like an ER setup, like a mobile unit. We're going to have to, that's going to cost.
That's only responsible.
But I think it's for the good of everybody. And I think it's like, if you want to be safe, you should probably contribute to
True,
this.
Yeah.
Because it's for your own good. Basically, do you want your mind blown or not? That's what you have to ask yourself. So, their minds will be blown. We have a new character in the show, Mom, new Bloody Grumpet, who has only done these past 4 shows with us. But we had the Rob Zombie gig, we had like a Vegas show and a couple of other ones, and that's it. But nobody else in the world has ever met her and ever seen her on stage with us. And she's pretty fantastic. She is our tribal wild creature that refuses to speak English, and she can do some pretty magical things. But so that is new. And in addition, I have a new Mohawk headdress. That is alone definitely reason for the mobile ER unit to be present and just like fully prepared. So there's there's all of that, and basically a new character means a new show.
Yeah.
So this is completely unlike anything else, and it's really, as I keep referring to, because it's my personal mad obsession to make this dream come true, is that it's like one of the final steps before the musical. You go, and there's nobody's trying to fool you into thinking this is like a rock and roll show. It's just, I mean, we have some moments where it's kick-ass. Flag is kind of a pop anthem, whatever, the closest I've ever come to really writing one, and that was very intentional. But really, once it departs and goes into that other world of just like theater, and it doesn't really come back, and it's just been completely. I have had my mind blown by the reaction being so positive to that, because I thought that at some point somebody would be like, well, that's cool, but I'm not really into musicals, and that never happened.
Yeah, you don't see that like bewildered face in the middle of the crowd going, what's going on here? Yeah.
No.
That's awesome.
Even if somebody didn't know what they were in for, it's all up to me and to us, but, I'm the one singing, so it's all up to us to just, it's simply just like, my job is to make you believe, and it doesn't matter what I have to work with, or whether you know me, or whether you know this story is true, or whether you know anything about this. It's my job to make you believe in something, and basically just hook you and keep you interested in a story that you know nothing about. And that being like that, if I can't do that, I'm doing the wrong job. And I think I'm going to hang out and keep doing this job for a while.
We look forward to you tainting the East Coast shortly.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. I look forward to selling our portrait on eBay as an alternative to Kickstarter.
I think it'll pay off.
You wait till you see this photo. You send me something of you today.
I will.
And,
I can do that.
This is very, I'm incredibly excited about this.
Cool. Well, thanks for joining the House of Zazz, and thanks for doing what you do.
Thank you for being my friend of the day.
Hey, absolutely.